Good morning. My name is Mal. I'm second year at Santa Barbara City College, interior design major.
Good night. This is I'm Adam. This is oh yeah, I'm a in finance major.
Awesome. I guess we can go one at a time. I think the first one I would talk about if I was a president for 24 hours and I would change a law, would be abortion laws. I think there's a lot of states where obviously abortions are illegal. And it's very contradicting, especially in different communities, in different states, how people have very different opinions. And I think it's a topic that can get really out of hand. And I think that a lot of people don't have enough information to be able to truly make a point and not even, or to be able to have a conversation with people with opposing views, especially on this one. And I feel like a lot of the times when people talk about this specific issue, it turns more into an argument than a discussion. But personally, my view is that I definitely would want abortions to be legal just because of many, many different cases of women and girls that are in situations that they need to have that be an option for them. I think it's important for women to be able to have an option and not be restricted to one law just based on what state they're in. Um, but I also do, I'm not a, I mean, obviously that's my very strong opinion. I don't think I'm gonna change it, but I do really like hearing other people's views. I like to hear what they have to say and why they think the things that they say. And I try to understand their point of view because I think that that's what's important is to understand where somebody's coming from because it might be like through religion. And I think that also is very important to know and respect people's opinions based on their religion because it's important. But I think it's important to also, for the opposing side, to understand the opposite side. That's my first one.
Yeah. I want to talk about the Second Amendment because I think I have an interesting take on it. Um, I don't really see the point in guns, honestly, at all. I don't know. I feel like I feel like even like the quote unquote good that comes out of using a gun, I would say that actually ends up being not a good thing. Like, oh yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, the police used a gun to stop an armed suspect. It's like, well, is that really good? Like, the guy's still dead. So I don't know. I think that it's like there's just no point to have them. They just kind of the whole argument of like guns don't kill people, people kill people. It's like, yeah, but I think your chance of survival, if something crazy is supposed to happen, of like where someone's like it's like a quote unquote like a mass stabbing, I think your odds are a little bit better stacked up against something like that than against something that can end your life in about half a second.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, it's been a staple for like since the country was made to like be able to like own a gun. But I also don't think at the time when our country was founded that then they knew like guns were gonna kind of become like how they are now. You know, they were like using muskets back then, which were not exactly ideal weapons of choice for anything, really. So I would say like I think in that aspect it would make sense because like it's not like super dangerous, more used for the hunting. Like they were still very like primitive and stuff that they were like doing. They weren't able to like quote unquote like, just go to the store to like get food all the time. Like a lot of people had to like go and get their own food. So I think using the same like law that was made super long ago, that doesn't really make sense in today's world. I would say that kind of like we kind of maybe need a little bit of a change, especially because other countries also just don't even have guns. So, and they seem to be doing just fine without them. So, I don't understand why we couldn't.
Totally agree with you on that one. That was actually one of the topics I was going to talk about. And it has a lot to do with obviously something that's extremely relevant to today's world and today's news of, school shootings or even just regular shootings out and about. Because I mean, just not cause, but just because it's relevant. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of opposing views again on this one. But I think that if I were to change that law, I would definitely have it be something important for if you were to want to buy a gun or own a gun, you would have to have very probable reason. Um, you would have to have more than just a regular permit that is so easy to get. Just like in 2 minutes, people can get permits just like that ish. You know what I mean? Like I'm exaggerating. And I feel like it's so easy nowadays to own something that's so powerful. And I think that that's what's so dangerous about this country is that you can't just rely on this like every single citizen in America to do the right thing because that's just not possible. As much as you want everybody to do the right thing, you're not going to. Um, and the mistake of one wrong permit can completely end not only just one life, but multiple, and even one is just one too many. So I think it's so important, especially young people, to have the access to that. I think is so insane because it's not even just shootings in general, but it's in also like for themselves. There's a lot of like a lot of kids nowadays that are going through a lot of mental issues and things like that. So for them to have such an easy exit to them in a way, I feel like there's a lot of, easy ways to get through terrible things. So I think it's so important for not only us as people of like the citizen, everything to understand these laws and to really, really have a good grasp on it, but obviously, um, you know, the rest of the world to understand it. Um, and yeah, that's about
Yeah.
it.
Another one I want to talk about. I wanted to talk about traffic laws. I I don't understand why the speed limit is the same for every single car on the road. Because like obviously like there's some cars that like they can drive faster comfortably, they can drive and some cars can't. But I know it's based off like it's something with like braking and how fast cars can come to a stop.
Yeah.
But it's also like 65, it's fast on a highway, but it's not that fast. Like so I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of cars nowadays that are modern and like they're not they're not the same car that was thought of when it was being made. It was like the cars have gotten better and better. That it's kind of like they're not gonna like if you're driving an older car, you probably shouldn't go more than 65 on the highway anyway. But you drive a lot with a new 2025 car, you could definitely drive over 65 and be completely fine. And I think it's weird how sometimes cops will enforce it and sometimes they don't. It's like you could drive past a cop going 85 and he won't pull you over. You could drive past a cop going 75 and guess what? He's pulling you over today. It's
Hmm.
kind of like,
So might
kind of
as
like,
well go fast.
well, no, it's kind of like, well, if it's really a law, then why is there leniency with it? You know what I mean? It's kind of
Mm.
like, either make it be like, yeah, you gotta drive that. It's kind of like the unwritten rule in California where it's like, oh, it's 65, don't go over 80. It's like
Mm.
kind of like that
Mm.
rule where it's like, all right, like you're out of you're like, you're not gonna get pulled over going 77, but like you're going 82, they're lighting you up, and it's like, that's 5 miles per hour. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's not super crazy in that aspect where I feel like the threshold, and even it's like, okay, well, that's still the threshold's still 12 miles per hour over what the speed limit says it is. So I think there's just a lot of weird laws that come with traffic, and I just think that the speed limits are definitely one of them.
So would you change that range from being five, like a cop can pull you, can pull you, can pull you aside? Wait, what is that
To pull
word?
you over.
Pull you over.
Um,
Pull you over, like over 5 miles, or are you saying that each car should have their own speed limit? Because I fear,
I'm saying that I feel like if you're gonna make the speed, if you're gonna like, I'd make it so like, okay, I'm up in the speed limit of 75, and you can't go over 75. You go over 75, a cop like should be pulling you over.
why 75 though?
Well, I'm just saying like I'd figure out
Any,
probably
okay, got it.
I'd think
Wait,
whatever it
what if
is.
there's a car that's really slow, then they can't reach 75, and there's people going
Well,
75 that's super fast or super fast, you know? There's a
you
truck,
know,
like a slow truck moving, and then there's a car speeding down. That car, like moving slower than traffic, is almost more dangerous than going fast, I think. And I
it's
think that
true,
that's
but
also important to. I don't
there's
know.
a highway in
Also,
Germany
old
called the
people
Autobahn where it's unlimited speed limit for certain parts.
would love to know who
And
owns those.
and those are just two-lane highways. And I mean, obviously there's accidents on the highway, but there's also like accidents everywhere. So it's kind of like you can't prevent an accident, but it's kind of like why are we like I feel like speeding tickets are like kind of OD. Like they're kind of like what's like they're kind of like they're crazy.
Have
It's
you
like
gotten a speed ticket? Is this why you're a
I have actually gotten a speeding ticket for
wow?
going 75 and a 65, and that was
Oh,
and I
you
got it.
have? Okay.
Yeah, and it was probably about $600, and I feel like
Mm, that's
I
a little
think
much.
the ticket itself I think was like $100, and then everything else was like the court fee and stuff. It was like all this stuff like so you
Mm.
don't have to go to stuff. It was like someone looked at your case. It was so it just didn't make sense, and I feel like, but I don't know. I just feel like I don't like that
Speeding.
kind of stuff. I feel like if you're a good driver, like, and if you're a bad driver, don't drive as fast. You're a good driver, drive faster. Like, if you can figure it out, you can figure it out. But
Then would you
like,
say that if you're a bad driver, that the
if you're a bad
actual
driver, don't
test
drive.
should be a little bit more?
I do.
Do
I just
you
think the
think
test. I do think
people
the
should
test
be
should be a lot
tested?
harder. Giving a 15-year-old keys to a car is crazy.
Well, I don't think it's that. I think, well, this is your law. I don't, whatever. But I'm just saying, if anything, I think that kids nowadays, like, they can get a car. I think that the 15 and a half, you can start driving and learn how to do it. And then you can start having a car at 16. I think that's fine. But I think it's important to retest people every 5 years
Yes.
with, you know what I mean? Because I feel like there's a
Yes.
lot of
There's
like
a lot of
older,
old people on the
80
roads.
people, 80-year-olds and they haven't been tested in like years and years and they forgot.
Yeah,
And
they grew up in a car that couldn't even drive straight, and now they're in a car that drives for them.
well, yeah, I
I
guess.
do actually agree with that though. I do think like they should be retested
Hmm.
because
Learn lines together.
my grandmother can still drive,
Hey,
but she can't turn her head side to side. So that's a little bit insane.
well, that's beautiful. That is on her doctor, I think, but that's okay. Um, because usually when an older person goes to a doctor and they're going through something, like if they're physically not good, then they take the license away.
Well, no, it's she's been healthy for like 15 years, but like she just doesn't
Oh,
let her head.
all right. Well, beautiful. My last topic I'm gonna say is my tattoo laws. And when I say tattoo laws, I mean honestly any law that requires a certain age. I think there's so 16-year-old you can get a license, 18-year-old you can get a tattoo, and 21-year-old you can um buy alcohol. So I'm confused the alignment of that. I think that if I was a president for 24 hours, I would change that. I think that 16 for driving is okay. I think I'd move it maybe to 17. Tattoos, I think I would put it to 20. And then drinking, I would put it to 18 because that just makes sense. And then guns should be at 21.
Oh,
Uh,
so now you want guns?
well, if you were to have a permit and everything, you would have to have it at 21.
You yeah you well you can get a hunting license I think at what like under 21, but you can't get like a gun license until you're 21. You can't own a handgun or anything until you're like 21.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean that you can't not get 18-year-olds can get hunting guns no matter what.
You can get guns no matter what.
Yeah, right. Well, there you go. Yeah, for tattoos, I think 20 is important because I just think tattoos are cool, whatever, but there's way too many people at 18 that are just like, let's do it. And then 3 years later, they're like, I hate it. I know some people that have had that. Super interesting because that's on your body for the rest of your life. And I think it's important for
Do you have a personal story about this?
no, I don't. I don't have any tattoos actually. Sure. I know some friends that don't like their tattoos now, and it's been 2 years. So it's it's a short period of time to change your mind. I think that people shouldn't be able to or like should have more time coming right out of being a teenager, which is really, really young, to just like have the option of marking your body for the rest of your life and then for it to be even more money and like really painful to remove it and for it to not even be removed fully for if you really wanted to proceed to that.
Does that mean you want to change the like? So you don't think so? You think you should be able to be a legal adult at 18, but then you still can't get a tattoo or get any of that stuff until you're 21, or would you change
Well,
that as well?
for example, if you can't check into a hotel at 21, but you can mark your body for the rest of your life, I'm confused. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many specific laws that are so late in life, and then some that are so early that, like, I agree that 18 is okay, but just because everything else is like so late that it doesn't make sense for it to all combine together. So, like, check into a hotel, 21 should be 18. Or, actually, yeah, well, I don't know. Anyways, that's another topic. Tattoos should be, I think, 20, maybe. I don't know. Also, 21 is an interesting day. I think it should be 20, like 15, 25. Anyways, um, that's it. About it. They've got. That's actually a really good. Why did 18 become the adult year? Who made that decision?
It was made so people could go to war.
Yeah, but why 18? You know what I mean? Why not
It was
17?
like
Why not 19?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Let's research that.
Yeah, look it up right now. Um,
Yeah, well, those are my three. Did you
uh,
get the third one?
this is about to be my third one.
Oh, okay,
I
sorry.
was I was gonna do tattoo laws too.
Oh, interesting.
Um, and I think it was weird that like people that were like against like against like the tattoo laws or that like they were worried about like location restrictions. Like apparently some places are banning like they you can't have tattoos on your face, your hand for like if you're in
Oh,
pain. And that's kind of like, well, like yeah, but it's kind of also like, well, it's isn't that like it's a form of art and isn't that like a form of like speech at the same time? So it's kind of like, is there a way that's like actually infringing on your First Amendment rights? Which
hmm.
I thought would be, which I was kind of confused about there. So I was like, all right, well, it's kind of doing that. So I'd probably be like super chill. I'd be like, it's your body at the end of the day. Like it's kind of like the same take with like a lot of people have with like the abortion stuff that you talked about. Whereas like if it's not your body, why are you worried about it kind of thing. So I wouldn't like I think like looking at like what's allowed for people, I think it's like why are we worried about what other people are doing with their own bodies? Like, you feel like if you're that worried about it, like maybe like try to influence them not to get it, but what like at the end of the day, worry about yourself. So I just don't understand the idea there. And I think it's very weird also how like the workplaces, they don't like him at all. Like I think that's a very weird thing of being like I think it's almost can be like it's almost like discrimination in a way.
Hmm.
It's like because I got something that I thought mattered to me, that now it's not going to let me get a job that I've worked my life for or whatever. And it's kind of like you're taking that away from me because of a decision I made about my own body.
Hmm.
I feel like it'd be like, oh, like if I showed up, if you went to work and let's say you went bald and they were like, oh no, you need hair.
Yeah.
It'd be like,
Shoot.
but like, why though? Like, it's like my body. Like, it's like what?
My
Like,
hair.
so yeah.
No, I
So I
get
don't know. I would say like. I would just, if I was president for 24 hours, I would just change that law to be like, doesn't matter what you do, just
it. Mm.
they should know like whatever you do could have consequences.
Yeah,
Like,
like go bald, you know.
well, no, but like if you get a face tattoo, like know that like some people are, like, everyone, people are gonna look at you different, and it's like depending on what you get is a little bit that you depending on what you get and anything like you get a tattoo on your chest, it could be like a really bad thing, but no one will ever see it,
Mm,
but. You can get it like right on your cheekbone, and now it's like, guess what? Every single day, someone's gonna see it. So it's kind of like make it better, make a choice. But
mm,
at the end of the day, it's I don't want to. I don't think it makes sense to regulate that stuff.
agreed. Love that. Well, that was great.